convinced, and even more so than before, that the real economic crisis is not in our past, but in our future. It's going to hit maybe as early as 2010, but certainly by 2011 or 2012. We will be in the midst of a far deeper economic crisis. We're going to have a currency crisis where the value of the dollar plunges, and when that happens, consumer prices and interest rates are going to go ballistic in this country. And we're going to have runaway inflation, sky-high interest rates, and much more unemployment than we have right now. And the Federal Reserve and the government are going to be in a real bind. Do they finally do the right thing after years of doing the wrong thing? Are they going to let financial institutions that they bailed out fail again and let them fail? Are they going to let housing prices fall to market levels? Are they going to shrink government spending, which is what we need? Or are they going to do the wrong thing? When the Chinese and the Japanese refuse to buy our debt, are we going to cut spending? Or is the Federal Reserve going to monetize it all? Are we going to try to stimulate our way out of the next economic crisis? Because if we do that, we're going to stimulate ourselves in a hyperinflation, and nobody in this room wants to live through that. But that is exactly where we're headed, unless somebody goes to Washington and puts a stop to it. And that's why I'm in this race. No, I'm interrupting my career. I've never sought public office. I've never held public office. But I understand that our elected officials and career politicians have brought this country to the brink of financial ruin. I don't want to see it go over the edge. I think I'm uniquely qualified to go to Washington and try to educate and convince the rest of Congress to do the right thing. Because so far, everything they've done has been wrong. And not just this Congress, and not just Obama. They were making mistakes under Bush. They still don't understand the real source of the problem. We can't borrow our way out of this crisis. We can't spend our way out of it, and we can't print our way out of it. We need free market economics more than ever before. The only way out of this mess is to save money, produce, and invest. Those are the things we need to do, but those are the things that are not getting done because of misguided government policy that is designed to encourage more borrowing and more spending while it restricts capital investment and real economic growth. And I think I'm one of the only people that can go to Washington and deliver that message in a way that it will resonate. And the problem with so many people who have run as Republicans, I've been very frustrated as a Republican, is people constantly come up and they say the right thing. They say they're for smaller government. They say they want to cut taxes. They say they want to cut spending. That's what they say, but that's never what they do. Because the minute we elect them, they act like Democrats. What do? They want to stay in Washington. They're career politicians, and their career is to get reelected. And once they go to Washington and they get immersed in that culture, they want to stay there, and so they grow government. And the minute we send them there, they act exactly like Democrats, and that's the problem. And because of this, we've handed the issues to the Democrats. The only reason that Barack Obama can get away with his economic policies is because they're the policies that Bush had. He's just expanding them. He's just making them bigger, but it's the same theories. And now you have Republicans that are trying to oppose Obama, who supported Bush when they did the same thing. And it doesn't have any credibility. I'm not going to Washington because I want a job there, that I want a career there. I'm going there because I understand the mess that this country is in. And I'm committed to do something about it. So when I go to Washington, if I get elected as a United States Senator, my job is not to get reelected. I don't care if I get reelected. I just need to be there one term, 6 years, because we don't know if we have 6 years. We've got to do the right things, and we got to do them now. And that means I've got to convince the Republicans and Democrats that they've got to put the national interest ahead of their political interest. And that means real, serious reform, real change. We've got to shrink government and shrink it dramatically. We cannot afford all this government spending. We are broke. We're running a huge deficit, and we're printing money like it's going out of pocket. And there's a cost. And it's not going to be borne by our grandchildren. They might not even be here. They'll leave. They're going to escape these taxes. It's going to be borne by everyone in this room because we are going to destroy the value of our currency, and that is going to wipe out the middle class in this generation. We're going to wipe out their retirement income. We're going to wipe out the value of their pensions and their wages unless we act. And we need to realize that the solutions are not in government. They're in the marketplace. We became the richest country in the world because we controlled government, because government was small, and that allowed entrepreneurship. That allowed real wealth to be created. wealth doesn't come from spending, it comes from savings, it comes from capital investment, it comes from hard work of entrepreneurs, and none of that is happening because everything we're doing is discouraging that and inhibiting that. And there is hope. It's not, it's not beyond hope. I mean, we're in a big ditch. There's no doubt about it. Government policy has placed us in this situation. But it's possible to get out of it. There have been countries that have been decimated by wars. Look at Japan and Germany at the end of World War II. They came back with free market principles. We can do it, but we have to start trying. It's never going to be accomplished if government gets in the way. If government keeps growing and keeps stimulating this economy, they will sedate it to death, and this economy will die from an overdose of government stimulus. Anyway, I'm not sure how long I've been talking, but let me take your questions.
Question?
Yes.
The taxpayers below the median income only pay 3% of personal federal income taxes. Why would they support reducing spending when to them it's ultimately free?
Well, it's difficult to get them to support it. After all, they're the ones that are receiving, the loot, right? I mean, the money is being redistributed towards them. But, they're going to get so fed up with the lies that they've heard from one politician after another who promises to make their lives better. They're going to see the cost of living going up. They're going to see the jobs disappearing. They're going to see prices rising. And eventually, they're not going to buy those lies anymore. They're going to understand that they've been sold a bill of goods from their government. But, it's not just income taxes. These people are paying a lot of payroll taxes. What I want them to know is they're not only paying their share of the Social Security payroll tax, they're paying the employer's share. It's all coming out of their wages. And so there are a lot of ways that we can show average American citizens the way government spending is hurting their lives and diminishing their standard of living. And let people know that the real opportunity in this country is in the free market, not in government programs and not in government handouts. It doesn't work, it's never worked anywhere, and it doesn't work in America.
What program did you cut first?
Well, I mean, there's plenty that I cut. I mean, who knows? It's a long list. I want to abolish a lot of government departments. There's way too many departments. What I want to do is try to restore the federal government to its constitutional functions. So most of what the federal government does now is unconstitutional. So there's a lot of things that we can cut. But we also need to make meaningful cuts in entitlement spending. We can't afford it. We don't have the money. And we can't borrow it because that's worse. Because when we borrow money, now we have to pay taxes and higher taxes for the interest. And if we don't do that and we just print money, then the government steals our purchasing power. So we have to put an end to this spending. And it's not just reducing the rate of increase. We need to actually make real, serious, meaningful cuts in government spending. Because that's the only way our economy can survive. We can't survive with all this government. It's too big. It's too big of a burden. If you really want to talk about economic stimulus, the only stimulus that works is to shrink government. That stimulates the economy. Anything that grows government stifles the economy. Yes?
As an economist, you got me from hello as far as your expertise in economics and monetary and fiscal policy. Now, tell me what you think about Iran, and tell me what you think about energy.
Well, first of all, on energy, right? I think we should get rid of the Department of Energy because it doesn't produce any energy. It's a waste of money. But I think that we need to develop our own energy. I just invested quite a bit of my own money and clients' money in an oil drilling project in North Dakota. There's a lot of oil up there. But what I want is government to get out of the way. I mean, people always ask, do you believe in nuclear power, or do you think there should be, wind power or solar power? You know what? It's none of the government's business. They don't know. Bureaucrats don't know. No one knows what the right source of energy to develop is. It's the market. We need entrepreneurs guided by profit, by self-interest, and by an invisible hand to make the investments that the market rewards. Because no bureaucrat can central plan. Nobody knows. But what we do know is that there are government policies right now that inhibit exploration and development. What we can do is lower taxes. We've got things where, right now, if you invest in oil and gas drilling and it loses money, of course they all lose money originally because it's expensive. And sometimes if you're just looking for oil, you might not find it. There's a lot of losses. Well, right now, because of changes that were made to the tax code years ago, if you lose money in a partnership looking for oil and gas, you can't write those losses against income that you have